A very good evening, happy Easter, and welcome to RTV News in English. I'm William Evans with the latest from the world of news, of course, beginning with the headlines. The Archbishop of Kigali, Cardinal Anton Kambanda, has called on Rwandans to support and comfort survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi as the country prepares to enter the 32nd commemoration period. While a new analysis by Transparency International Rwanda has highlighted persistent and growing challenges in the management of public finances across decentralized institutions and the city of Kigali. Also, medical experts say that cesarean section, commonly known as C-section, is one of the methods used to protect the lives of both mother and child, especially when normal delivery is not possible. Pleasure always having you join me for RTV News. Now this is the news in detail. The Archbishop of Kigali, Cardinal Anton Kambanda, has called on Rwandans to support and comfort survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi as the country prepares to enter the 32nd commemoration period. He made the appeal during Easter celebration, one of the most significant events in the Christian calendar. We do have details to this report. Easter celebrations across different churches and denominations in Rwanda were marked by a message of hope and renewal as Christians celebrated the resurrection of Jesus Christ. But this year's message also carried a deeper reflection. Worshippers were reminded of the need to prepare for the upcoming 32nd commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi. Easter is a reminder of the resurrection of Christ. It reminds us that at the cross is where our redemption comes from. During the commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, we are also reminded that our beloved suffered alongside with Jesus, and we are confident that they are with him in heaven. They suffered with him and also resurrected with him. In the resurrection of Christ is where our life begins. When we relate this with the Kwibuka, that is where the blood of Jesus healed our hearts and souls, and we are made stronger even in such times because we've not kept in our harsh past. Personally, I am a survivor, but in the many battles and painful moments I passed through after knowing Christ, my hope was restored. In Christ, we found parents, we found relatives, and also we are not orphans anymore. Religious leaders used the occasion to urge unity, love, and resilience, particularly as the country reflects on the lasting impact of the genocide. The Anglican Bishop of the Diocese of Kigali, Nathan Amot Rusengo, noted that Easter should serve as a moment of reflection for every Rwandan. Easter to all believers and to all Rwandans is a day that brings new hope. Rwanda is a country God gave to all Rwandans. There is no singular person who exclusively owns Rwanda. We are all Rwandans, and because of this, we must live with each other in harmony. Meanwhile, the Archbishop of Kigali, Anton Cardinal Kambanda, called on Rwandans to remember the history the country has gone through, to stand with the survivors, and to actively participate in all activities planned during the commemoration period. The 1994 genocide against the Tutsi was a time of absence of Christianity, integrity, and love. True believers were barely present. Rwanda seemed like a country crucified on the cross. During the time, many questioned how they will return to the church because their faith had been bruised and disappointed. Thankfully, the genocide was stopped and people started in very tough conditions the process of reconciliation. Jesus Christ suffered with our relatives that we remember, and in remembrance we shall also remember that there were parents, relatives, and our children with whom we shared the journey of life. We shall mourn them and remember them in unity. The bond we share will enable us to continue being close to each other as we continue to comfort survivors. This year's Easter celebrations come just one day before Rwanda begins the 32nd commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. Now, as Rwanda prepares to begin the 32nd commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi on April 7th, experts are urging responsible use of social media during the period of mourning, while mental health professionals and frequent users of digital platforms say that messages shared online should comfort and unite rather than re-traumatize survivors. We do have details to this report. Social media platforms including WhatsApp, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn continue to play a significant role in how information is shared. However, concern remains over their misuse. In some cases, individuals have used these platforms to spread hate speech, including messages that deny or trivialize the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994, particularly during the commemoration period. Many young users say they are committed to using social media responsibly, sharing truthful information, and challenging genocide denial. It is not the first time I make this commitment. I usually do it. First, the resharing verified information, but also secondly, it is about confronting those that distort the facts of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi using social media. There are lots of connotations intended to distort the facts and truth of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. For those who know the history, the truth is known, and we are ready as social media influencers to stand for the truth. Mental health experts warn that content shared online can have a profound psychological impact. Dr. Darius Gishoma, head of the Mental Health Division at the Rwanda Biomedical Center, says that both individuals and media organizations must exercise caution, especially during the mourning week and the 100 days of commemoration. There are instances where it's more than just sharing information or news, but also mining the dignity and protecting the survivors. For example, if you are recording and notice that someone is not feeling well, much as you need to cover the event, be professional enough to protect the survivors. Another mental health specialist, Dr. Shatse Uwihoreye, cautions that irresponsible use of social media can contribute to trauma and emotional distress. Fake information is dangerous, destructive, and harmful, and this could be both in the mind and psychologically, and also in behavioral health. And all this usually reflects mental health issues. Social media usage, therefore, should be used mindfully, especially in such a time. Experts emphasize that offensive language, disturbing images, and misinformation can deepen wounds and trigger trauma among survivors. A new analysis by Transparency International Rwanda that highlights persistent and growing challenges in the management of public finance across decentralized institutions and the city of Kigali. The review is based on reports by the Auditor General for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024, and points to significant weaknesses, particularly in compliance with the laws and regulations, as well as in public procurement processes. According to the findings, non-compliance with legal and regulatory frameworks accounts for 63.2% of all identified issues, making it the most dominant challenge. Public procurement-related issues account for 40%, further underlining systematic gaps in how public funds are managed. The analysis also reveals inefficiencies in asset management, including underutilized and poorly maintained public assets, limiting the expected return on government investments. Concerns are also rising in other areas, with issues related to public asset management increasing by 95%, while weaknesses in budget executions have surged by 250%, indicating deeper structural problems in financial oversight and planning. The report further highlights shortcomings in long-term planning, noting that some development projects fail to deliver expected benefits to citizens due to poor design and implementation. These concerns echo broader national priorities as leaders continue to call for improved accountability and better planning to prevent financial losses and ensure that public resources deliver tangible results. Despite these challenges, the report notes some progress. For the first time since audits of local government entities began, 19 districts have achieved at least 70% compliance in implementing recommendations from auditors. Now, Rwanda plans to roll out a shared digital system for microfinance institutions, including district circles, by the end of 2026. The initiative will also support the development of agents over the next 2 years, aimed at bringing financial services closer to rural communities. We do have details to this report. In Gishaka village, Bumbogo sector in Gasabo district, Mukairanga Ernestine runs a small business. But like many others in rural areas, she has no access to financial agents nearby. She says she's often forced to close her shop to travel to the circle to deposit or withdraw money, a challenge shared by many residents. We have to incur transport costs to be able to go to the circles to access money. This means sometimes we have to close our businesses and clients have to wait until we are back. But if agents were closed, it would be easy and helpful, and we would have no reason for closing business. When you keep wasting time simply because you have to move up and down looking for service, yet you would have used that very time to make more profits, it means that development is going on, but really slowly. Therefore, I think it is time for other banks to help us and deploy more agents, because this will support fast development. Like other banks have agents all over the country, even SACCOs should have the same. It would help us save time, money, and many other things. Efforts to address this gap were highlighted at the Microfinance Technology Summit, which brought together fintech experts and microfinance institutions. At the summit in Dar es Salaam, Rwanda announced plans to introduce a unified digital platform that will connect microfinance institutions across the country before the end of 2026. The move was welcomed by both local and international participants.
This is essential for them to serve the rural area farmers with the right technology. And as we come with experience of this technology, we were collaborating with them. We were helping the MFIs to be more digitalized, more innovative ones, and giving them the solutions that we have created for, especially for them.
Yes, I think the collaboration between, for example, I know there's a collaboration between Rwanda and Kenya, right, and also Ghana, for business passporting, right. So I think that's a very good step in unifying fintech systems across the continent, right? So I'm proud that Rwandan governments are the ones pushing for this. So I think it's something that we need to double down on. Other people should also emulate.
According to Lewoka Namujire, head of the National Fintech Association, the platform will be complemented by an integrated customer information system. This means client data will be accessible across institutions, enabling fast and more efficient service delivery.
From now on, a citizen who's coming to do a KYC or to register, maybe getting a credit from the digital platform, will now be easy just to get that information, because we only require to have ID, a digital ID of that customer, and then you access all the information or the data, a KYC information of that citizens. And that will be very easy to us to craft or to develop a product which is going to be accessible from the higher level to the lowest level we have to level of the Muturage.
The chairman of the Association of Microfinance Institutions in Rwanda says that plans are underway to deploy 10,000 agents within the next 2 years. These agents, including those serving SACCOs, are expected to significantly improve access to financial services, particularly in underserved communities. The first critical step is sharing information between financial institutions and tech companies on matters relating to easy access to services. This will solve a lot of issues and also build trust between the different parties. Rwanda currently has around 70 microfinance institutions and SACCOs operating through more than 800 branches and serving close to 6 million members. A 2024-2025 report by the National Bank of Rwanda shows that over 10,000 agents are already in operation, but they primarily serve commercial banks. The new initiative, therefore, is expected to bridge the gap, extending agent banking services deeper into rural areas and strengthening financial inclusion. We now turn to matters health, where medical experts say that cesarean section, commonly known as C-section, is one of the methods used to protect lives of both mother and child, especially when normal delivery is not possible. At the University Teaching Hospital of Butare, expectant mothers with various pregnancy-related complications are received and monitored, with some requiring surgical delivery to ensure safe childbirth. Doctors explain that the decision to perform a C-section is made based on the condition of both the mother and the baby, particularly when continuing with natural delivery could pose serious health risks. They emphasize that preventing such complications begins with regular antenatal checkups, which help identify potential risks early and allow for timely medical intervention. After undergoing C-section, mothers are advised to strictly follow medical guidance, including taking prescribed medication, avoiding strenuous activities, and attending follow-up consultations to support proper recovery. Health professionals are urging all pregnant women to attend routine checkups and seek medical care promptly whenever they notice any unusual symptoms, as this remains the most effective way to safeguard both maternal and child health. Now to matters economics, rising fuel prices are beginning to take a toll on transport costs since Saturday, when new petrol prices have come into effect, prompting concerns from commuters and riders alike, while others are turning to alternative energy solutions. We do have details to this report. The latest increase in fuel prices is already being felt across Kigali, particularly among those who rely on motorcycles for daily transport. Commuters say the rising cost of petrol is making their journeys more expensive, forcing some to reconsider how often they travel. Sometimes they charge you 1,500, and for the same distance, another will charge you 2,000 or even 1,000. There are numerous losses in using petrol for us motorists. It requires a huge amount of capital. Yet for electric mobility, sometimes I just use 2,000 and I make between 6,000 to 7,000 as profit. Motorcycle riders also say that the price hike is affecting their operations, with many adjusting fares to cope up with higher fuel costs. However, not everyone is feeling the pressure. Riders using electric motorcycles say that the increase in fuel prices has little to no impact on their work, highlighting the growing appeal of alternative transport options. For us with electric motorcycles, there is no impact on us following the new fuel prices. Owners and advocates of electric vehicles are now encouraging both commuters and transport operators to consider shifting to electric mobility, especially as global fuel prices remain volatile. As we seek to be self-sufficient, our call to the government is to encourage citizens to opt for electric vehicles because it is also being self-sufficient in the transport sector. The electricity we use is domestically generated, which makes electric mobility more affordable. For example, our riders save about 50% of what those with non-electric motorcycles spend. The Minister of Trade and Industry says that while fuel prices continue to rise, this should not disrupt transport services. Instead, users are being urged to adopt more efficient ways of managing fuel consumption.
Ibiciro bya peteroli ku isoko mpuzamahanga muri uku kwezi gushize byazamutse hejuru ya 60%.
Fuel prices at the global market increased above 60%, but when you look at the revision that was made, there is an increase of about 13%, meaning that there is serious action being taken to ensure that there is less impact to us, but there is no way we can run away from these effects. My message to businessmen and Rwandans in general is that if we've observed a 60% increment at the global market, but as a country we've maintained a 13% increment, then the hike in fuel prices should not be an excuse for overhiking prices of other commodities. there should be some considerations.
kumva ko ari ibyacu ntawe uhima undi.
Meanwhile, the Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority, RURA, has announced the new fuel prices. A litre of petrol has increased by 314 Rwandan francs, now retailing at 2,303 francs, up from 1,989 francs. Diesel prices have also risen by 257 francs per litre, now costing 2,205 francs, up from 1,948 francs. The last price adjustment was made on March 4th, 2026. As fuel prices continue to fluctuate, the shift towards electric mobility is gaining attention as a possible long-term solution. With that, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin. Of course, a quick reminder that Kwibuka 32 begins on Tuesday, and we are called to remember, of course, unite and renew. My name is William Evans. Have a good night and goodbye.